How many of you out there struggle with procrastination? In fact, some of you are probably procrastinating right this second. Wait. So just before you switch me off, let me just share this piece of advice with you. I too am a chronic procrastinator, and I have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. Before we find ways of trying to avoid procrastination, it is also just as vitally important to understand why it is that we procrastinate. So procrastination is a term that is usually associated when we're trying to avoid a particular work at hand. However, from a biological perspective, it is actually a process by which we are trying to deal with stress. Let's just say your boss is expecting a phone call from yourself for you to provide a report of some kind. Now, in that given moment, you may perceive this as a stressful situation, and thereby your stress hormones are going off. And as human beings, because we want to try and avoid any painful encounters, we then seek the next best alternative, which in this case is to procrastinate. And the most classic scenario of them all, and admittedly I've been there, is when you're supposed to be studying for something, but your mind tricks you into believing that you have more time than anticipated, and thereby your video games are fully justified, your YouTube videos, or going on a social media spree. So the first thing is you want to get yourself into the zone. This means you want to get yourself focused and prepared beforehand, so that when you're actually engaged in the task, you're not drifting off and thinking about other things. If you have a sizable amount of things to get done, then break these things down into smaller, manageable chunks instead of trying to hit it all in one go. The next step is to remove any form of distraction. So either the PlayStation goes, or you need to move yourself away from that environment. Also, do you need to have your phone with you? And do you need to be connected to the internet? Okay, these are questions that you need to ask yourself, and you know what it is that will provoke that impulsiveness within you. My final and last tip is the most straightforward of them all. You need to just dive right in. A lot of the times we can be our own worst enemy, in the sense that we can overthink things and prolong things, making life a lot more difficult than what it is. By just jumping right in, challenging yourself in the process, you can actually rejoice in the feeling of getting something done in a timely manner. Now, based on this, you can actually learn from this experience, and then going into future events, you can then practice these things without having to procrastinate from the get-go. Hopefully some of these tips will be helpful to yourselves. My name is Amin, and I will catch up with you another time.